Ladies and gentlemen, today I stand before you to talk about a moment in my life, a day that changed everything. It was the kind of day when time seemed to stand still, yet everything around me was moving faster than ever. A day when the ordinary became extraordinary and I was awakened to a new purpose. You see, there are moments in life that come without warning, but they carry within them the power to alter the course of our future forever. The day that changed my life started like any other, but the call I felt that day couldn't be ignored. It wasn't a call to a job, a place, or even a person. It was a call to my own potential. I had been living my life, but I wasn't truly living. I had been drifting through each day, doing what was expected, going through the motions, but deep down, I knew I wasn't fulfilling the purpose I was meant to live out. Then came the realization, the call. It wasn't anything grand or extraordinary at first. It was a quiet moment of clarity, a truth I'd been avoiding. I had been waiting for the right time, for the perfect set of circumstances, for the world to give me permission to move forward. But on that day, I realized something. There is no perfect moment. There is no right time when everything aligns perfectly. The right time is when you decide it is. And that decision was the call to action. That call, though, wasn't just a loud voice in the air. It came from deep within me. A realization that I had the power to make a change. I had the ability to rise up from the status quo, to step outside of my comfort zone, and to move in the direction I was destined to go. It was a choice I had to make, a decision to stop playing small, to stop being a passenger in my own life. No one was going to make this decision for me. It had to come from within. In that moment, I understood that the first step in any transformation is to hear the call, to recognize it, and to have the courage to act. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what you should be doing. The call is already inside you, waiting for you to listen, to rise to it, and to walk in the direction that you were made to go. But there is one thing that I've learned above all else. It is not the circumstances of our lives that define us, but the decisions we make when we face those circumstances. On that day, the day that changed everything for me, I made a decision. It was not just any decision, but a decision that would shape the trajectory of my future. I realized that every moment I had been living until that point had been a culmination of the choices I'd made. Some good, some bad. But what mattered most was the choice I made next. I could continue along the same path, or I could choose to take a different one. The decision wasn't just about changing what I did. It was about changing how I saw the world, how I saw myself, and how I saw my potential. Up until that moment, I had allowed life to happen to me. I had been swept along by the current, hoping that one day I would find some greater meaning or purpose. But I discovered that waiting for life to change me wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to wait for the stars to align or for someone to give me permission to dream bigger. No, I had to take the reins of my life, and I had to make a choice. A choice to take control, to stop being a passive participant, and to actively decide what I wanted my life to look like. That moment, that decision, was the turning point. It was the realization that life is shaped by the decisions we make right now, not by the regrets we carry from the past or the hopes we pin on the future. The choice to move forward with confidence, to step out of my comfort zone, to trust that I could make a difference. These choices were the catalyst for the change I so desperately needed. But I also learned that making a decision isn't always easy. There are times when the path is unclear, when doubts creep in, when fear threatens to hold us back. The decision to change, to take action, often feels like stepping into the unknown. But the courage to take that step is what ultimately gives us the strength to move forward. We must learn not to be afraid of the uncertainty, for it is in the unknown that we find the greatest opportunities for growth and transformation. It's in our nature to seek comfort, to hold on to what's familiar, to resist the unknown. Change challenges our sense of stability, and it forces us to confront the uncertainties that lie ahead. But let me tell you something. True growth doesn't happen in the safety of the familiar. It happens when we are willing to step into the unknown, to face the fears and doubts that arise, and to embrace the changes that can ultimately transform us. That day, the day that changed everything for me, was the moment I understood that embracing change was not just necessary, it was essential. I had spent so many years clinging to what I knew, even when I was not fully content or fulfilled. I was holding on to the past, to old habits, old patterns of thinking, because they were comfortable. But comfort does not lead to growth, it leads to stagnation. I realized that in order to become the person I was meant to be, I had to let go of the past. I had to stop letting the weight of my old ways of thinking and living hold me back from the future that was waiting for me. It wasn't easy. Change never is. But the truth I learned that day is this: to move forward, you must first be willing to let go. Letting go isn't about abandoning who you are. It's about releasing the things that no longer serve you. It's about acknowledging that what you've done up until now is not all there is. There's more. More to learn, more to experience, more to give, and more to become. And that requires a willingness to embrace new ideas, new perspectives, and new ways of doing things. What I found was that when you make the decision to embrace change, it opens doors you never thought were possible. The unknown becomes less daunting, and you begin to see challenges not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. The fear of failure lessens, and the excitement of possibility begins to take its place. For many of us, the idea of change can be terrifying. We fear the loss of control, the fear of not knowing what's next, the fear of making a mistake. But I learned that it's precisely when we step into the unknown, when we embrace the changes that life brings, that we discover what we are truly capable of. Change isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing process. Every day brings an opportunity for change, for growth, and for reinvention. We can choose to stay stuck, to keep holding on to what is comfortable, or we can choose to grow, to evolve, and to embrace the journey that change offers. If you want to see transformation in your life, you must be willing to let go of the old and make room for the new. You must be willing to step forward with courage, trusting that even though you can't see the full picture, each step you take will bring you closer to the person you are meant to be. Embrace change, for it is through change that we find our truest, most powerful selves. And in the end, you will discover that the change you feared was the very thing that set you free. It's not just about believing in something beyond ourselves, it's about trusting in the unseen, in the unknown, and in the strength that lies within each of us. That day, I came to understand that faith is not just a belief. It's a source of power. It's the anchor that holds us steady when life gets stormy, and the courage that drives us to keep moving when everything around us tells us to stop. At that moment, I wasn't just looking for a solution or an answer. I was searching for something deeper, and what I found was faith. Faith that no matter how uncertain or difficult the future seemed, there was a higher purpose at work in my life. Faith, in a sense, gives you the strength to keep going even when you can't see the end of the road. There were moments, especially after that day, when doubt crept in. It's easy to lose confidence when things don't go according to plan or when the road ahead seems long and uncertain. But what I learned is that faith is not the absence of doubt. It's the willingness to press on in spite of it. It's the courage to take one more step, even when you don't know what lies ahead. The fear of the unknown will always be there, but faith enables you to move beyond that fear and trust that step by step, you are moving closer to where you're supposed to be. Faith is also about trusting in your own abilities, even when others may doubt you and even when you doubt yourself. There will always be voices, both external and internal, that question whether you can make it, whether you are enough. But true faith isn't about ignoring those doubts. It's about acknowledging them and choosing to move forward anyway. When you hold fast to your faith, you hold on to the belief that you were made for something greater. And you trust that with every step you take, you will be given the strength to face whatever comes your way. I also came to realize that faith is not passive. It requires action. You cannot just sit and wait for things to change. You must move in faith, trusting that your efforts will lead to the breakthroughs you seek. Faith is a partnership. It's not just about asking for help, but about doing your part, taking your steps, and trusting that what you can't control will fall into place as you move forward. In the end, faith is the belief that everything has purpose, and that no matter what happens, you are never alone in your journey. You are always guided, supported, and strengthened by a power greater than yourself. It's the belief that no matter how dark the night may seem, the dawn will break, and with it, a new hope will rise. That is the power of faith, a force that sustains, empowers, and transforms. When you lean into your faith, you begin to see that you are stronger, more capable, and more resilient than you ever imagined. And in the midst of every challenge, you'll find the courage to keep moving forward, trusting that the best is yet to come. It's one thing to live, to get by, to go through the motions, but it's something entirely different to live with purpose, to know in your heart that everything you do matters, that your life has meaning beyond what you can see. That day, when everything began to shift for me, I experienced the profound clarity of understanding my true purpose. It wasn't just about a career, a title, or an achievement. It was deeper than that. It was about who I was becoming and how I could contribute to the lives of others. For the first time, I realized that my life wasn't just about my own comfort or success. It was about something much greater, being a part of a larger story, a story that I could influence with the choices I made. I think many of us go through life wondering what we're truly meant to do, feeling a sense of emptiness when we can't find the answer. But the truth is, our purpose is not always found in a grand revelation or a dramatic moment of clarity. Sometimes it's found in the smallest of decisions, in the simplest of actions. It's found in the moments when you decide to be present, to serve others, and to align your choices with the values that resonate most deeply with your heart. That day, I realized that purpose isn't something you search for endlessly or hope to stumble upon. It's something you build day by day through your actions, your decisions, and your willingness to serve others. Purpose is something that grows out of a life lived with intention and meaning. It's the belief that everything you do, no matter how small it may seem, contributes to a greater good. One of the greatest gifts purpose offers is direction. When you know why you're here, the decisions you make become clear. You begin to align your actions with the values that matter most to you. No longer do you waste time on things that don't serve your vision. Instead, you focus on what will help you move closer to your true calling. Purpose provides the energy to persevere through the challenges because you know that every setback, every struggle is part of the bigger picture, part of the journey you are meant to walk. But even more than that, purpose is about legacy. It's not just about what you accomplish during your lifetime, but how you impact others long after you're gone. It's about how your choices inspire those around you to pursue their own purpose, to rise above their limitations, and to live with meaning. When you understand your purpose, you become a beacon of light for others, a living example of what's possible when you live authentically, with intention, and with a heart that seeks to serve. That day I came to understand that my life had purpose, a purpose that extended far beyond my own ambitions or dreams. And in that realization, I found a renewed sense of determination. No longer was I merely going through the motions of life. I was moving with intention, focused on living in a way that honored my calling and made a difference in the world. So I ask you today, have you found your purpose? It's not something to be discovered in a single moment, but something to be nurtured, cultivated, and pursued each day. Purpose is something that not only defines who we are, but also shapes what we do. It is the reason we get up every morning, the driving force behind every decision, and the compass that guides us through both the challenges and the triumphs of life. But the truth is, finding your purpose is not always a straightforward path. It's something that requires patience, self-reflection, and above all, a willingness to explore and to be open to the calling within you. I remember the feeling of being lost before that day, like I was simply drifting along, caught up in the busyness of life, yet unsure of what truly mattered. It wasn't that I wasn't trying. I was, as I stand here today, I can't help but reflect on the profound impact that one single day can have on a life. It was the day that opened my eyes to the power of hope. Hope in its truest form is more than just a wish or a fleeting desire. It is a steadfast belief in the possibility of tomorrow, a quiet but unshakable confidence that even in the darkest moments there is something better waiting ahead. That day was a turning point, a day when the weight of uncertainty and doubt seemed overwhelming. But in the midst of that, I discovered that hope is not dependent on circumstances. Hope is a mindset, a choice. It's the conviction that no matter how hard today might be, there is always the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. It is the fuel that keeps us going when everything else around us seems to be falling apart. Hope isn't about ignoring reality. It's about seeing beyond the present, understanding that challenges are temporary and that growth often comes through struggle. I had spent so many years focused on what wasn't working, what had gone wrong, and what I couldn't control. But that day, I learned that hope isn't about denying the hardships or pretending they don't exist. It's about embracing them and choosing to believe that they are not the end of the story. There is always something more ahead, something worth striving for. I began to see my challenges not as dead ends, but as opportunities for resilience, as stepping stones toward a greater future. Hope also gives us the courage to take action even when the path ahead is unclear. It is not passive. It doesn't wait for the world to change before we act. Hope is the belief that the effort we put in today will lead to a better tomorrow, even if we can't always see how. It calls us to keep moving forward, to keep fighting for what we believe in, even when the odds seem stacked against us. And as we take those steps, hope grows within us, filling us with the strength to face whatever challenges arise. Hope is also contagious. When you live with hope, it radiates outward, touching the lives of those around you. People who are struggling, who are lost or afraid, are drawn to hope. It becomes a light in the darkness, a reminder that no matter how difficult the present may be, there is always the potential for a brighter future. It inspires others to rise above their circumstances, to believe in something better, and to take action toward their own dreams. Perhaps the most important lesson I learned that day is that hope is a choice that we make every single day. We can choose to focus on the obstacles, or we can choose to believe in the possibilities. We can choose to let fear and doubt control us, or we can choose to let hope lead us forward. And when we choose hope, we open ourselves to the boundless opportunities that life offers. So no matter where you find yourself today, no matter how difficult the road may seem, I want you to remember that hope is always available to you. It is not just something you wait for, it is something you cultivate, something you actively choose to embrace. And when you do, you will find that the strength to move forward, the courage to face tomorrow, and the ability to create a future filled with possibility is always within reach. That day was a turning point, a day when the weight of uncertainty and doubt seemed overwhelming. But in the midst of that, I discovered that hope is not dependent on circumstances. Hope is a mindset, a choice. It's the conviction that no matter how hard today might be, there is always the possibility of a brighter tomorrow. It is the fuel that keeps us going when everything else around us seems to be falling apart. Hope isn't about ignoring reality. It's about seeing beyond the present, understanding that challenges are temporary and that growth often comes through struggle. I had spent so many years focused on what wasn't working, what had gone wrong, and what I couldn't control. But that day I learned that hope isn't about denying the hardships or pretending they don't exist. It's about embracing them and choosing to believe that they are not the end of the story. There is always something more ahead, something worth striving for. I began to see my challenges not as dead ends, but as opportunities for resilience, as stepping stones toward a greater future. Hope also gives us the courage to take action, even when the path ahead is unclear. It is not passive. It doesn't wait for the world to change before we act. Hope is the belief that the effort we put in today will lead to a better tomorrow, even if we can't always see how. It calls us to keep moving forward, to keep fighting for what we believe in, even when the odds seem stacked against us. And as we take those steps, hope grows within us, filling us with the strength to face whatever challenges arise. Hope is also contagious. When you live with hope, it radiates outward, touching the lives of those around you. People who are struggling, who are lost or afraid, are drawn to hope. It becomes a light in the darkness, a reminder that no matter how difficult the present may be, there is always the potential for a brighter future. It inspires others to rise above their circumstances, to believe in something better, and to take action toward their own dreams. Perhaps the most important lesson I learned that day is that hope is a choice that we make every single day. We can choose to focus on the obstacles, or we can choose to believe in the possibilities. We can choose to let fear and doubt control us, or we can choose to let hope lead us forward. And when we choose hope, we open ourselves to the boundless opportunities that life offers. So no matter where you find yourself today, no matter how difficult the road may seem, I want you to remember that hope is always available to you. It is not just something you wait for. It is something you cultivate. And when you do, you will find that the strength to move forward, the courage to face tomorrow, and the ability to create a future filled with possibility is always within reach. As we come to the end of this time together, I want to leave you with this thought. The day that changed my life was not an isolated event. It was the beginning of a new journey, a new way of seeing the world, and a new way of living. Each of us has the power to create such moments in our own lives, to choose to rise above the challenges, to embrace change, to act in faith, to discover our purpose, and to hold on to hope no matter what. Remember, the greatest change often begins with one single step, one choice. And no matter where you are right now, no matter what you're facing, know this. You have within you the strength, the courage, and the resilience to face whatever comes next. The future is yours to shape. Don't wait for it to come to you. Step forward with confidence, knowing that the journey ahead is filled with endless possibilities. And above all, hold on to hope, because it is through hope that we find our strength, our purpose, and our ability to make a difference in this world. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. May you go forward with a renewed sense of purpose, with faith in your heart, and with the unwavering belief that your best days are still ahead. The day that changed my life can be the day that changes yours too. The best is yet to come. Thank you.